Hey guys, just something a little bit more of a go on from one of the last videos I've done. So in one of the last videos I mentioned about having to do something that the customer asked me to do, and I wasn't overly, if it had been up to me I wouldn't have done it, and I just thought I would go on that subject a little bit. I suppose really what I'm trying to say is the customers aren't always right in this business. And I wanted to tell you a story of something that happened to me a few years ago. Customer of mine, very good guy, someone I worked for quite a while. In the back garden, they had this big conservatory, big glass conservatory, and all the way down the side of it ran this big fir tree hedge. And the customer I didn't see very often. He's one of those type of customers that I might have seen sort of 3 or 4 times a year. He'd come by and wave to you on the way out or something like that. And it was one of those jobs that I'd turn up to for 3 hours, and it was a set price, and I would just do things around the garden for maybe cut the grass or tidy up some of the beds, that sort of thing. Another one of those jobs where the customers didn't really get too involved. I kept on top of things well enough that they didn't really need to tell me what to do. This particular time, the guy was at home, and as soon as I got to the job, he walked straight out to me. "Hey Curtis, you alright? How are we doing? All good?" And he said, "I've got a job for you today." And that was sort of out of the blue. I thought, crikey, here we go, what's happened. So anyway, he decides, got to cut this hedge, got to cut this conifer hedge down the side of his conservatory. Now, when I first took the job on, I walked around the property with him. It was one of the things he said, "Leave that." He said, "Not fussed about that. That can go as high as you want." Basically, because there was no access to it, I couldn't get to it unless I was to stand on top of the conservatory. So, for him to turn around and say, "Oh, we're going to cut that hedge today," I thought, well, okay, we've obviously changed your mind a bit. So he then went into, yeah, we're going to get that done today. We'll sort that, get that cut right back hard, and as hard as you can. I said, well, there's no access. I've got nowhere. I've got no ladders can get against it. There's no way I can get to it. He said, yeah, just walk on the glass. Just walk on top of the glass. He said, put a board across. He said, usually will be no trouble. He said, I do it all the time. He said, I go in there and clean the gutter out and all the rest. And I thought, you don't do anything. Anyway, I had to say no. I had a look round and I thought, man, it didn't look great. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to say no. I'm not going to do it. So he was a bit on and off. He was like, "Oh, you sure? Come on, you'll be all right. You'll be all right." I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I said, "You're going to have to get a tree surgeon out." And I'd worked for him for a while. That I knew that I would probably be safe in my he wasn't going to get rid of me. We wouldn't have fallen out about it. Okay, there's no trouble, no problem at all. So I carried on, went and done some more gardening. Probably 3 weeks later, turn up again. There's a builder's van in the drive, and I think, okay, what's going on here? So I see the builders. They were working on the conservatory, doing bits and pieces, and I was wandering up and down. Also, one of the guys comes over with a cup of tea. Builders made me a cup of tea. I thought, oh, lovely. So I could have a chat with them. How you getting on? What you've been up to? All the rest of it. What you're up to today? What you on what you're doing at the house? And he said, we were repairing the conservatory roof. I say, well, why are you repairing it? What's up with it? He said, oh, it's derelict. The roof is like, from the outside didn't look too bad. From the inside, it was basically rotten to the bone. And the guys there, I sort of said to him, look, the guy that I'm working for, the boss guy, I said he wanted me to cut that hedge, the big sort of tree hedge thing down the side. I said, he wanted me to cut that the other week. And he said, well, how is you going to cut it? And he said, he wanted me to walk on top. He said, if the builders both looked at each other, one of them turned and said, if you'd have walked on that, he said, you'd have fallen through, no doubt. He said, you would have crashed straight through into their conservatory. And it took me a while to sort of realise that the guy that I worked for obviously knew that the roof was derelict, but he still wanted me. The story was that the price that the builders had given him to clear the hedge, to cut all the hedge back, was far, far more than I would have been charging him, because I turn up and do set price for everything every time I go round, just do whatever I can in the 3 hours. My price would have been far, far cheaper to cut this hedge than the builders were. Although the builders would have come in, they've got all the towers and everything like that, they've set everything up, you know, scaffold, whatever it was. And so I said to the guy, I said, so he must have known that it was in a bad way. And I said, well, he said he's been up there before and climbed on it and cleaned the gutter out. And the guys even showed me the gutter. He said, come and look. He said the gutter was like full to the brim of all this, you know, tree gunk. So it did take me a while, even afterwards, the job. I was thinking, you know, I'm sure he didn't mean it intentionally. I'm sure the guy I worked for didn't mean me any harm, but he didn't have my safety in mind. You know, he didn't. And I suppose the moral of the story is, you know, if I would have been in a different stage of my career, you know, if I would have been one of these young guys starting out, taking on every single job I can, I would have probably done it. I would have probably jumped up there, or, you know, you don't want to say no to anyone, you don't want to upset anyone, you don't want to lose the job. I would have jumped up on that roof and been working away, and would have probably gone through and done myself some serious damage. So, moral of this story is the customer is not always right, especially in this business. He's not always right. Do not be afraid to say no to people. And I'm saying, this is just one guy I worked for. He was good as gold. I say, don't work for him anymore. I moved away. But I say, they just didn't have my interest in mind. I don't know what would have happened if I'd have gone through. You know, when you sort of think about it afterwards, you sort of think about different things, and it just really cheesed me off that he knew that the roof was in a bad way. This is the reason why the builders were coming. And I say, he'd obviously been given a price from the builders, and he didn't like the price, so he thought he'd just get me to go up and do it. So no, don't listen to some of your customers. I have different ones. I have a lady that is totally opposite. You know, she won't let me do any ladder work unless she's there, because she's frightened that if I fell off a ladder and no one was around, you know, I wouldn't be. She wouldn't be there to call for help. So not all my customers are like that, you know. But as I say, don't be afraid. Any guys out there that's just started working, you know, don't be afraid to say no. You know, have your safety in mind. At the end of the day, it's not worth, you know, breaking your legs and not being able to work again or ever again, you know, just for the fact that someone wants their bushes cut. So something a bit different, guys, a bit of a story. I have thousands and thousands of different stories, which I might try and tell you if you enjoyed this one. Saltex still, guys. Saltex exhibition is in a week's time, pretty much a week's time, 2nd to 3rd November. If you don't heard about it, check back a couple of videos of mine. It's called Saltex, and it's an exhibition that I'm going to on the 2nd. Anyway, guys, take care. Thank you very much for watching, and be good. See you soon.